Hello, I'm Michaela from the Makers Collective, and this week I'm talking about, on Makers TV, balance with kids and starting a small business and trying to juggle all that. So, it's hard. So that's what we're covering today. This is Makers TV. I'm Michaela from the Makers Collective, as I mentioned, and each week I try to publish live, short, sharp, actionable lessons to help you strengthen your brand and grow your business. So this week I thought I would just do a really candid, short video talking about what my reality is of starting a small business, or hopefully one day a big business, but with kids. And I forgot to plug my microphone in, so I'm going to do that. Just never really quite get everything together, do I? Hopefully that sound is a little bit better. Who knows? Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in, and what I would like to do first is I wrote a blog post titled, what is it titled? Working on your business with a young family and no time. And a lot of that post goes into how I think actually people have a lot more time than they realize, and it's a matter of priorities and where you are prioritizing your time and what you're spending your time on. Might just be stuff that you have as a higher priority, and that's totally fine. But one point that I did go through in that blog post is about trying to work when you're at home with your kids. So there's just a short paragraph here that I would like to read out to you. And this, I wrote this, I think, about 2.5 years ago. So it's not exactly the same situation now, because this is talking about when I had Rafa in daycare, and now he's obviously in school. So it's a whole different ball game, much easier, a little bit more time during the day to be able to get stuff done. But I'm just going to read this out. So my situation is that my 4-year-old goes to daycare twice a week, to his grandparents twice a week, and I have him one day a week on a Tuesday, but I have baby Harriet 24/7. This arrangement was born from committing to the fact that my business is a full-time job, and I need to treat it as such. I realize I am extremely lucky to have family that I can look after my kids, and I can afford just to send him to daycare for 2 days a week. But lately, I've been trying to get tasks done with him at home with me, and it's been a miserable failure. I'm not spending quality time with him, and I'm not really getting much work done either. So from this week, I'm committing to being present when I have Rafa at home with me. Tuesday is now a no work day until he goes to bed at night. I've even scheduled playtime into my calendar. So that's kind of the sort of stuff that I had to do around that time when I still had the Makers Hub open. So it was quite a stressful time in my life too, because that was really, really expensive to run, and I didn't have the cash flow to be able to keep that open. And that's when I made the decision that I didn't want to keep that open, and it was too much of a toll financially and also just mentally, and it wasn't what I actually really wanted to do. That is a whole nother story that I have yet to write about on the website, on the blog, but I will do that soon. But just getting back to the fact of treating your business like a full-time job, I was in a position where that was what I was doing full-time, and I was trying to do it with 2 little kids at home with me. And that's not what you do when you have a full-time job. You have, 7 or 8 hours a day to work on that job and do all the tasks needed in that employment. I think the best thing about working for yourself is being able to have your kids home with you, but at the same time, you really need to work out what works for you in terms of actually being able to do the work and having them around. So, as I said in the blog post, when I wrote that 2.5 years ago, I did have Rafa in daycare 2 days a week, and he, he'd been going to daycare since he was about 1 anyway, because I had gone back to my regular teaching job and before I had resigned to start my own business. But the point being that I had then also asked the grandparents to have him 2 days a week also. So I had 4 full days that I could work on the business. And that was ideal. I'm definitely not saying that that's going to be the right situation for you if you're just starting out in your business, but I do want you to think about, if you want your business to be long term, if you want it to make a profit, if you want it to replace some sort of other income that you're getting, you do need to prioritize that. And I'm not, of course, not saying prioritize it over your kids because that's crazy, but being open to the idea of having them being looked after by somebody else at certain periods of time where you can focus completely on your business. So, or your, not just, if you're making things, not just the stuff that you're making or producing, but also, actually strategizing and planning for the future and working out what you want your business to look like and how you're going to make that happen, because that's super important, and not enough people do that at the beginning of their journey. And that's why it usually takes a long time to actually get momentum, because you haven't thought about all those sort of what I call the core strengths of your business to make sure that you do have a strong brand and that you're moving forward. So often you're sort of going round and round in circles. Add to that a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old at home with you demanding your attention and, you do feel terrible when you spend the whole day and you have tasks to do in your business and you just, placate them where you can, but then maybe they watch a lot of TV, which I have no problem with. But, as a parent, generally, you kind of want them to be well-rounded children with, activities to do and fun things. Like, you want them to have a nice day as well, and you also want to give them your attention. So having them at home with you while you're trying to do work is very, very difficult. Now, I also understand, and I totally, I don't want to just be like, oh, yes, put them in daycare. It's as easy as that. I understand it's definitely not as easy as that. What I would suggest is maybe thinking, don't be shut off to the idea straight away because of financial concerns or, because you can't get into daycare anywhere, because that's a thing as well. But try and think a little bit creatively about how you could maybe make this work with other families around. If you don't have your own family to be able to look after your kids, then maybe you could make friends with people at a local mother's group or a parents group or a play group or something like that. And you could try and organize maybe where, you kind of do a kid swap for a while. So maybe you mind their toddlers or whatever for a couple of hours one day, and that's the day where you're really involved in the kids and you're entertaining them and you're going out and doing stuff maybe. And then another day they take your kids for a couple of hours, and that'll give you just a few hours of uninterrupted solid work time. The other trick then is to also do the work on those days, which I'm still getting used to. It's very easy sometimes to, slip back into maybe not focusing what you should be focusing on. But, it's something that we all have to sort of learn how to do. And it's not just an instant thing that is easy to do straight away. I can sit here and say, well, use your time wisely. It's not going to be instant for you. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll use my time wisely. It's something you need to practice, and it's a skill that you need to learn. If you're like me and have shiny object syndrome where you're running off and doing other things all the time, it is all about focus, and having that focus on your business and what you're doing is going to be that the thing that then drives you forward and moves your business forward and lets you see growth in your business, is having that focus. I also have another blog post about focus, which I first published in 2015 and then republished in 2017, and since have written a follow-up to as well. And that basically just documents how I personally focused my business down from doing 1,000 different things to really narrowing and niching down and figuring out what it was that I really wanted to do. And that has made such an incredible difference in my business, in my stress levels, in my home life with my kids. And it brings that balance back into some sort of a balance. I think it was Shonda Rhimes who wrote all those amazing TV shows in the States, who did a really great, it wasn't a TED Talk, I think it was a university, one of those end of year graduation talk things. And she was asked maybe about balance, and she said there is none. You don't have a balance. If you're succeeding in your business, then you're failing. And this is, possibly more high level stuff than what we're at the moment. She's talking multi-million-dollar shows and that sort of stuff. But when she's watching the very last episode of Grey's Anatomy or whatever it was and celebrating that, she's missing her kids something or other. And when she's seeing her kids something or other, she's missing the very last show, so the balance is that there isn't really a balance. You need to just make sure that you're making it work as best you possibly can. Give yourself a break sometimes. Don't let that guilt set in about what you should and shouldn't be doing. The rules in society that say that you should have a clean house 24/7. It's bullshit. Like, who made up these rules, Like, if you want to work from home and you don't have time to clean the house that day, unlucky. So that's my thoughts on that sort of stuff anyway. Like, it really is about prioritizing what's important to you. And if your business is a priority and you really do want it to be long term, then other things need to be negotiated or negotiable. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on the matter. Starting a business with young kids, the reality, it's really hard. It's so hard. Like, as I was just saying, that balance thing, then my personal example is when I had the hub open, I had a baby in the middle of that time. So I had it open for just over 2 years, and smack bang in the middle, I had a baby. And so I couldn't work for a while. And then, because technically I was on maternity leave, so I couldn't actually work and make income there. So then I would be going in with her once I could, and she was very young, and she was a great baby. She'd just hang out in the studio space with me while I did all the stuff that I needed to do. But at the same time, while I was pushing and striving and really trying to make all that work, I feel like I kind of missed out on the first 12 months of Harriet's life. I don't really remember her all that much from that time, which is kind of devastating. And her 3rd birthday is coming up this weekend, and I made a little, a slideshow of all these photos of her, and I hardly even remember all the baby ones because she was so adorable. And I was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. I was working that entire time. So just making sure too that you're not focusing on something that maybe, I don't know, we're obviously all here for business and we want our businesses to succeed. And I personally think that persistence pays off, and you really have to persist, but it's not a race. And I really like saying that often. It's not a race, because I wanted that business to succeed so much that I was so concerned with making that happen right then and there that I missed out on life stuff. So I wish that I had taken a step back and closed the hub earlier and tried it again. I'll try it again in 5 or 10 years, when I'm in the right life stage and I don't have a newborn baby to enjoy. So that's pretty much my ad-libbed episode for this week, all about starting a business with young kids, finding that balance that doesn't really exist. But I guess my main message here is you really need to work out what works for you, and if you can possibly work out where you can get some time, uninterrupted time to work on your business and really be able to focus, and how you can work that out with your situation and with your kids, whether it's sending them to daycare, whether it's putting your business on hold until they're in school. That's kind of drastic. I don't think you need to do that. Whether it's asking family to mind them for a few hours a week, whether it's sorting out some sort of arrangement with another family, maybe your neighbours, where you can swap kids for a couple of hours a week so you can have that uninterrupted business time. I think that will be the best thing for your business that you can possibly do. Another quick note, I know we're over the 10 minutes. That's okay. We're still under the 15. Another quick note that I really wanted to talk about was with maternity leave. I know a lot of people are wanting to start their businesses while they're on maternity leave, and having a newborn baby, that's really difficult. But I think the key here is, if you're planning to do that, really, it could be fantastic, but don't think you need to sell straight away. Use that time, use your maternity leave to plan your business and to test ideas and to create things and put them out, not for sale, but figure out if people like them and want them, and, go through all those core strengths of your business and work out who your customer is, what your product is and how it's helping people. What your marketing plan is going to be. How are you going to reach these people? How are you going to get traffic to your website? How are you going to build your website? All of that stuff can be that planning stage in your 9 to 12 months of maternity leave, hopefully, that you have with your baby, during nap times, if you have nap times. And, evenings, then there's no pressure or stress to actually be able to to be making a profit during that time, because it's never going to happen. If you are starting your business and you have a newborn baby and maybe they don't nap, it's like, oh my God, that's crazy talk. You're not going to be able to, start a business, have a baby and sell and make a profit all in that tiny little period of time. So think about that. If you are going to have a baby soon, or you're, planning your business and you're thinking, oh, maternity leave is going to be a fantastic time to be able to start my business. Maternity leave is going to be a fantastic time to plan your business. And then at the end of that time, you go, okay, well now I have a little bit more time if you're going back to work, or if you're still staying at home longer, which is great, but maybe the baby is like a bit more mobile and you can do things, or maybe they're sleeping longer or whatever. That's the time that you can actually launch and start selling and building momentum. And then you can sort of figure out, okay, maybe I only go back to work part-time instead of full-time. That's exactly what I did after I had both my babies. I went back, I think 50%. And then I used that other time to be able to grow gradually. It's not a race. I can't stress this enough, because so many people just think they're going to be an instant success overnight. And, they see all these other people who are doing fantastic things, and they don't realize that those people have been working steadily behind the scenes for 3, 4, 7 years on their business before they hit that magic $50,000 or $100,000 or $150,000 a year. That's my rant for the morning. I hope you guys have found this helpful. Gone over the 15 minutes now. Terrible, but that's the way it goes when I'm unscripted and just telling you my thoughts. Hey Gemma, thank you for the thumbs up. Thanks so much guys for listening. If you found this helpful, please share it with your networks. That'd be really fantastic. You can also find it it'll be on the Facebook page. I'll share it to the Facebook community. If you're not in it yet, jump across. I'll put a link in the comments. It'll also be on YouTube, and it will be in a blog post on the website at a later date. If you would like help starting your business, if you want some more personal one-on-one, you can consider joining the Makers Academy, which is a membership for makers and creatives like yourself who want to start their business. I help you strengthen your brand, get all your ducks in a row, hold your hand, make sure everything's sort of happening the way it should be. You can go to themakers.academy for more information on that. Otherwise, if you're not ready for that yet, I would really, really like you to do my 5-day Start Your Biz challenge. And you might have seen a couple of ads going around on Instagram and Facebook about that lately, because I just put those up yesterday, with me saying, is it time to start your business? Because I think it is. And I do think it is. So if you want to join the challenge, please do so. You just get a daily email for 5 days with short tasks to get you started, because it can be super overwhelming with, there's a lot to do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you want to run your own business and you're a sole trader, solopreneur, one woman, man show, whatever, it's really fucking hard. It's crazy the amount of stuff you need to do. But this is why I just keep saying it's not a race, one foot in front of the other. Just do one thing at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. Get that done. Move on to the next thing. So if you want to do the challenge, that will help you do that. It will help you start doing the first few tasks that you need to do to get started. And then you'll be off and running. And that's completely free. And I'll put a link in the comments below to that as well. So now I'm nearly up to 20 minutes. This is the longest episode. I'm terrible. I'm sorry about that. Not super short. But thank you so much for watching. If you did find it helpful, please share. And I'll be back next week with some other somethings. I'm not sure what yet, so please let me know in the comments what you would like to learn more about. Any specific topic related to business is fine. If I don't know the answer, I learn it and find out, and then so I can teach you, because I'm a teacher. That's what I do. Okay, thanks guys. I will hop off and I'll see you, or you see me next week. Thank you. Bye.